She's adorable, but I bet she's just a mile a minute.
She is. We actually, my brother-in-law gave us, was disapproving for not giving our daughter written credit in the show, because that's her voice is the echoey disembodied voice. Recording of her singing. Just threw some effects on it.
Let's run out to go find that too.
Oh, one of the funny things when I first watched Love and Other Lures is I actually had to go, wait, are they clowns? I think they're clowns. I think they're going for clown. And then I had to, and then he told me, he's like, oh, no, it's not that kind of clown. It's the other. I'm like, oh.
It's weird because we think of ourselves as clowns, and our friends are clowns. And I will hang out with clowns rather than actors any day.
Oh, clowns are so fun.
Because, you go up to an actor after a show and you say, you did a really good job in that show. And they say, oh, it means so much that you say that to me. Thank you so much. Like, all right, fine. You go up to a clown and say, that was a really good show. And they go, yeah, it was, wasn't it? It's never been like that before.
So, congrats. That's super hard. I think we don't realize, especially like right now in this chaos, taking chaos and making beauty out of it. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I've been trying to tell everybody we've been talking to who's had to go from I'm on a stage to I'm in front of a computer or in front of a camera or whatever their digital theater has become. This is not, people are like, oh, the new normal. There's no normal in this new. It's a lot of new. It's no normal.
Well, and this really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking about me. Yeah. I like talking about me. And then, so when we moved into working on the thing we filmed, which you saw for Cincinnati Fringe, which we did in May, I felt more comfortable than I ever would have before, even though it was back to just being us. And we pulled in 2 friends to do some small stuff, but mostly it was Toby and I creating this. I felt more comfortable going, okay, I'm in charge, and I never would have felt comfortable even within our duo of being like, of making so many decisions without consulting him. And it freed you up, I think, to do more of the things you're good at, which Absolutely. Is he was much more just the writer and I was more of just the director. And I set our shooting schedule. I set all the cameras. I decided on the shots. I coordinated with the editor and I felt comfortable within that. And it made it so much more efficient. Yeah. Right. And of course we weren't doing that totally from scratch.
Right.
So great. We had the show already from doing it as a stage act. It was it was the act we focused on in 2017, and we took it to 2 Fringe festivals that year and did a few other one-off shows. And we had our first initial stage show called The Monster Songs, and then we created Love and Other Lures, and they shared a few songs, but they had a lot of different songs. But basically the shtick was just more new shtick, but same format. It's just Dr. Dour and do a show for you, and there's some funny banter in between the songs. We had the script from the Love and Other Lures show, but we had to completely rewrite it because some of the banter was appropriate and great. But we wanted to acknowledge, well, we're here in this other space now. We're not in the same space as you. We're doing something different. And so that required some reimagining. And that's when Toby came up with the idea of the creepy singing outside and the audience arriving in a box. And these are the things that helped us then kind of formulate what it would be like as a whole. So Love and Other Lures is still a cabaret act, but we wanted it to be a little more cohesive. And so Toby did most of that scripting, and then we worked on some of it together, and a bunch of the banter was copy and pasted from our old show, but tweaked a little, and we added a little bit of new banter, although not much. We had to trim some stuff away, and it was mostly the same set list.
In some ways, we have found ourselves perfectly positioned to be making art in a pandemic, because we were already, over the past 2 years, we have been doing this transition from 100% live shows to more recorded, more filmic stuff. So we already had some equipment. We already had, like, knew some of the issues that we would be dealing with.
Yeah.
And that put us in a really good position so that we weren't figuring everything out at the same time trying to make this show.
Everything I learned about
Yeah.
picking camera angles and planning the shot list and everything, I learned just from osmosis from watching Sharon do that during the web series.
So it's like, I guess I equate it with when you see a staged reading of a play. You know, the actors have had maybe 3 rehearsals, they're working script in hand. The decision of, like, do we actually use props for this staged reading? Or do we mime everything? Or do we just stand behind music stands and have no stage business whatsoever? Those are all choices. And, like, there's no such thing as not making a choice about how you're going to do that staged reading. So it's like, I think the same thing when you're moving something that has been a piece of live theater to film, there's no such thing as not making a choice about how it gets filmed. It's sort of like you have to use the new medium and go, okay, what does this medium allow us to do that we couldn't do on stage? If we're not doing some of those things, we're missing out.
We made a list of, like, what are the things why are we funny on stage? And which of those things are actually going to work, you know, or which things are just kind of moot in the filmed environment.
Yeah, at least in a theater, you have that unspoken contract. Like, you promise not to be a jerk, and we promise to put on a show, and we'll get along just fine. But, like, here it's like, it's my house. I'm in my pajamas. I'm not a jerk. I'm doing what I was doing anyway. And so it's definitely, like, finding those moments that, like, stick with people. Uh-oh, I hit a nerve. Oh, good, talk.
And so I'm a big Stephen Sondheim fan. And one of the things that I keep saying when Rachel and I are trying to cook up stuff, I think one of the things that, I mean, it's different if you're doing, like, a live stream, but if you're doing anything that's recorded, people can go back and watch. So there is, you know, one of the most common criticisms of Sondheim is you don't get it when you just go and see one of his plays. Like, you almost have to see it multiple times, listen to it. And I grew up on that. So I said, that's sort of what I expect out of art. It's like, if I get it once, I'm not satisfied. So I think my tendency is always to, like, just try to cram more interest and more material into what I'm doing. And doing something recorded gives you so much more liberty in that way. Because, you know, all you have to do is entertain an audience through, and then they go, wait a minute, I think there's something I missed. They can go back and pick it up.
Hey guys, if you like what we just did, there's going to be plenty more coming up. Please like, comment, subscribe. Our Venmo is in the description. Please support us if you can. Our cats need the money.